Have you ever thought about how we organize the millions and millions of living things on Earth? I mean, for centuries, it was like trying to organize a massive library with only two shelves. Total chaos. Today, we're diving into the brilliant system that finally brought some order to all that beautiful complexity, Whittaker's 5 kingdoms. So for a really, really long time, the way scientists classified life was, well, let's just say it was way too simple. They basically had these two giant boxes, and the game was to try and cram every single living thing into one or the other. And those two boxes were defined by a super simple question. Is it a plant or is it an animal? You know, if it was green and didn't move, boom, it's a plant. If it moved around and had to eat, well, that's an animal. Seems easy enough, right? But as you can probably guess, nature is just never that simple. And this is where that simple system just started to fall apart. People started asking, wait a minute, where do we put bacteria? And what about a mushroom? It doesn't really move, but it's definitely not a plant. Or what about all that single-celled algae in the ocean? Suddenly, those two boxes felt incredibly small. So let's go back to that library idea. Imagine the only two shelves are labeled plant and animal. You'd have all these amazing, fascinating books, like fungi and bacteria, just piled up all over the floor with nowhere to go. It was a total mess, and it just wasn't telling the true story of life's incredible diversity. And then, in 1969, a biologist named R.H. Whittaker came along with this truly revolutionary idea. He saw that overflowing library and realized, you know what? We don't just need more shelves. We need a completely new building. His solution was so elegant, and it all revolved around a single number, 5. Not 2 kingdoms, but 5. Each one carefully designed to give every single form of life a proper home. Now here's the really brilliant part. This system wasn't just random. Whittaker used specific, fundamental characteristics to create his groups. He was looking at things like, what's the organism's cell structure like? How does it get its food? And how complex is its body? All right, you ready? Let's take a little tour of this new 5-shelf library. We're going to see exactly how Whittaker found a home for every organism, from the simplest little bacterium all the way up to us. Our first stop is Kingdom Monera. This is the shelf for the absolute smallest and most structurally simple forms of life on the entire planet. So everything in Monera is single-celled, but the real defining feature, the thing that makes them unique, is actually what they don't have. They have no true nucleus. Their genetic material just kind of floats around inside the cell. That makes them prokaryotes, and the most famous example, of course, is bacteria. Okay, next up, Kingdom Protista. This is a really fascinating and, honestly, super diverse group that represents a huge leap forward in complexity. Just like the Monera, protists are also single-celled. But, and this is a huge but, they do have a true nucleus that keeps their DNA all nice and organized. This makes them eukaryotes, and that was a massive evolutionary step that basically paved the way for all other complex life. The classic example here is the amoeba. And now for the kingdom that finally gave mushrooms a place to belong. Fungi. Believe me, these organisms are in a class all their own. Fungi are mostly multicellular, and you'll notice they're not green. That's because they can't make their own food. Instead, they have this really unique strategy. They're nature's great decomposers. They release enzymes and just absorb nutrients from dead stuff. This is exactly why mushrooms and molds fit here so perfectly. Okay, moving on to a kingdom I'm pretty sure we all recognize. This is Plantae, the green engine that powers so many of the world's ecosystems. Yep, this is the kingdom of the producers. These are the multicellular powerhouses of our planet. They use photosynthesis to turn literal sunlight into energy. I mean, from the tiniest blade of grass to the most massive redwood tree, they form the foundation of most food chains. And finally, we arrive at our own kingdom, the one we and our pets belong to, Animalia. We are the consumers. Animals are multicellular, and we just can't make our own food. So we have to eat or consume other organisms to get our energy. This group is huge, covering everything from insects and fish to, yes, you and me. This table just lays it all out so perfectly. Take a look. You can see that clear progression, right? From the simple prokaryotic cells in Monera to the more complex eukaryotes in all the other kingdoms. And look at the different ways of getting energy. It's so logical. Fungi absorb, plants produce, and animals consume. It's just a beautiful, logical system. So, why do we care? Why was this five-kingdom system such a game changer? Well, it's about so much more than just having neat and tidy little boxes to put things in. Whittaker's system was more than just organization. It was a whole new way of seeing the living world. It gave us a clear line between simple life and complex life. It grouped organisms based on one of the most fundamental things there is, how they get energy. And maybe most importantly, it gave us this incredible map that helps us trace the evolutionary roads connecting all life on Earth. So if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this simple little formula. This right here is the foundation of modern biology. The 5 great branches on the tree of life, all laid out for us to study, to marvel at, and to understand. Whittaker's system did an amazing job organizing the world we knew back in 1969. But science, it never, ever stops. As we discover all this bizarre microscopic life in the most extreme places you can imagine, from deep-sea volcanic vents to the clouds high above us, it just makes you wonder, is there a 6th kingdom out there just waiting to be found? And what will it teach us about the very definition of life itself?